I have a hip hop question that I always wanted to ask you.
Okay.
What was so wrong with Canibus's verse originally on 4321?
Nigga, you know it.
No, seriously, dude. I only know the stories that I've heard.
Yeah, I can tell you easily. First of all, and I told somebody this a long time ago, he met me at a time in my life when I led with my ego, straight up, primarily. So when you come up to a guy, who's still territorial, and you say to him, oh, I'm gonna get a tattoo just like yours. I wasn't as mature as I am now. So instead of me saying, all right, shorty, go ahead. Ain't fucking like that.
L was like a father figure in rap music. And I was just somebody who was coming in the game. I mean, I had done other records prior to 4321, but I was somebody who was coming in the game and was really looking for somebody to be under their wing and rock with them and tear the whole game down with them from the inside out.
Yeah, this is the debate right here. LL is a cultural icon. You don't come out your face and you don't borrow nothing. You lucky to be on the record.
What up, man? Hey, yeah, yo, I'm in. What up, Mo? Yo, come on, B. Do not post it before the show. I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna hold it. Come on, man. Look at me.
And this time, we're stepping back into the late 90s vibe, going deeper into that era because this Cam and Mace situation got that old energy buzzing again. This one isn't even a full-on beef. It's more like a clash that sparked from ego, from petty tension between a certified hip-hop legend and a rising newcomer trying to prove something. When this first popped off, it grabbed attention fast. You had a legendary MC facing off with a fresh face who already had crazy buzz around him because of how sharp his bars were. The talent was undeniable, and whenever a legend steps up against someone new but dangerous, people lock in heavy because anything can happen in a matchup like that. By now, you already know what it is. LL Cool J versus Canibus. Who really came out on top?
It bothered me. And I was like, no, you gotta get your own. Get something like, and then he gets on the mic, L is that a mic on your arm, lay body, and that was it. But in the verse, right. But it was based on our conversation. Yeah.
Talk about it.
Nigga, I told you. And he caught me in that zone. He didn't really do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, look at that.
I thought all these
No. I think you're right. But what are you gonna do?
This turned into one of those timeless battles that people still talk about because it gave us iconic diss tracks, pushed LL's legacy even higher, and put Canibus on a whole new level in the game. At that point, LL Cool J was already seen as top tier, a legend who kept dropping hits and never backed down from pressure. But this situation hit different because now he was up against someone new who could seriously spit at an elite level. Canibus wasn't regular at all. His style, his delivery, everything about him stood out in a big way. So here's how this plays out. First, we're breaking down how everything started, then diving into the key moments that really pushed things forward. After that, we're getting into who actually won the battle side of it. The short-term clash, right in the middle of all the tension.
So, he walked up and he was like, yo, L, your tattoo, man, I like your tattoo, I'm gonna get one like that. I said, nah, homie, you gotta get your own, I didn't understand that, like, mentally, like, I just didn't understand that. Nah, man, you gotta get your own joint. Like, I just didn't understand it. Like, it was no disrespect. I was like, nah, you got your own.
And then we're stepping back to look at the bigger picture. Who really won the war when it comes to longevity? Who came out stronger after everything cooled off? That's the real question. So grab something to drink, get comfortable, and lock in, because this story gets real interesting fast. This all kicks off in August 1997. At that time, LL Cool J was working on his album Phenomenon, getting everything lined up for release. One of the key tracks he was putting together was 4, 3, 2, 1, and he had a clear plan: mix veterans with rising talent to create something major. On the veteran side, you already had Method Man and Redman locked in. And for the newer voices, LL had his eyes on DMX and Canibus.
First thing I looked for was the mic. When I saw it, I was like, damn, when you see the mic and you know what it represents, you know that for anybody to put a mic on their arm, when I'm saying that damn, this is my life, or this is something that I do very well, something that I did very well and I'm doing very well, or, it's a statement.
Both building serious momentum. So he reached out to them, brought them into the studio, and they showed up ready to work at the same time. Now here's where it gets interesting. The way LL Cool J and Canibus both tell the story is almost identical, except for one small detail. When Canibus and DMX got to the studio, Canibus met LL. They were talking, vibing, going back and forth about different things. Then at one point, Canibus brought up LL Cool J's tattoos and asked if he could see them, and that moment right there started shifting the energy. So LL Cool J showed him most of the tattoos, but the one that really grabbed Canibus's attention was the mic tattoo on LL's arm. Now this is where the stories start to split a little depending on who you ask. LL Cool J says Canibus was really feeling that tattoo and even said he wanted one just like it. And LL's reaction was basically like, "That's kind of strange, bro. Do your own thing, get your own style, stay in your own lane." But Canibus tells it differently. He says he never said he wanted the exact same tattoo, he was just showing respect and admiring it, nothing deeper than that. That same night in the studio, everything still seemed smooth. DMX went in and did his verse, Canibus handled his part, no tension, no drama in the moment. Everyone left thinking it was all good. But then a few days later, things switched up.
There was a record called I Shot You with Foxy Brown, Keith Murray. It was a wicked record. The record was incredible. This was supposed to be like a part 2 to it. You know, like every album, L would have a track on there to just be bananas. And this record was supposed to be the Coconuts record on Phenomenon album, because it's the only one like it on the Phenomenon album. And they called me to come down and get on the record. So I went down, did my verse, you know what I mean? DMX was there, we laid our verse the same night.
LL Cool J hit up Canibus and told him straight up, "I feel like you're playing me. That verse sounds disrespectful. Can you come back to the studio and change it?" That's when the energy really started shifting. Now Canibus had a lot of respect for LL, still does, so he wasn't about to argue. He came back in, adjusted his verse, especially those opening lines that set LL off. The issue came from bars where Canibus was talking about wanting to borrow the mic off LL's arm, and LL took that as a shot instead of a compliment. After making the changes, Canibus kept it fair and asked LL, "Can you switch your bars too? It sounds like you're coming at me on this track." And LL Cool J agreed, saying he would make those changes as well.
You know, everything was cool. I left the studio, everything was copacetic. I got a phone call a couple days later saying from L that he felt I was trying to play him, you know, I should come in and change my verse. You know what I'm saying? So I did. I went and I changed my verse, and he told me he was gonna change his verse, and he left his verse, and it was dissing me, and I didn't even hear it till later on. When I heard it, I was distraught about it, you know, and I let it go on for a while. I tried to reconcile with him, tried to work it out. He didn't put me in the video. He tried to stomp me out, just like I was saying. So I did my record.
A few months go by, and then October 14th, 1997 hits. LL Cool J drops his 7th studio album, Phenomenon. And right there on track 7, 4, 3, 2, 1, you've got DMX, Method Man, Redman, and Canibus all on one record. But something wasn't right. LL Cool J never changed his verse. The same one that was clearly throwing shots at Canibus stayed exactly how it was. And to make things even messier, Canibus didn't even get invited to the video shoot for 4, 3, 2, 1. If you go back and watch it, you'll only see LL, Method Man, Redman, and DMX. Canibus is nowhere in sight. At the time, the public didn't even know Canibus had already reworked his verse to remove that mic line. Nobody fully caught that LL was taking shots, but behind the scenes, the record was moving around New York heavy. DJs, engineers, people in studios, they were all hearing it early. And because of that, rumors started spreading fast. People began calling Canibus a punk for not responding, saying he was just letting it slide. That talk kept getting louder, getting back to him over and over, and it started building pressure. Instead of jumping out with a diss right away, Canibus tried to handle it directly. He reached out to LL Cool J, hoping they could clear things up and maybe even work on another track together to shut down all the noise. The industry was already whispering about tension between them, and he wanted to kill that talk completely. During that call, Canibus kept it real. He told LL he felt disrespected and that people were coming at him crazy for staying quiet. LL's response was basically, "Don't react, don't diss me. Let's just do another track together, because nobody even knows my verse is about you." Since the public hadn't heard the original situation, LL was trying to keep everything under wraps. "Stop, don't do anything. You don't want to go down this road with me. It's not gonna end well." That was the warning coming from LL Cool J, making it clear he wasn't someone to play with. Canibus heard that and stayed calm about it. LL told him, "Give it a few months, we'll link up and do a track together to shut all this down." But things didn't stay quiet for long. The original version of the track eventually made its way out, and now everybody knew what was really going on. At that point, Canibus was already feeling some type of way. Left out of the video, his verse changed, and LL never fixing his part. So when the truth got out, he reached his limit and basically said, "Forget it, I'm dropping a diss and we're taking it there." Keep in mind, Canibus hadn't even dropped his debut album yet. He was still building his name, so going straight at a legend like LL Cool J was a huge risk. That kind of move could end a career before it even starts. But he didn't hesitate. He believed in his pen and stood on it. Then, on March 24th, 1998, Canibus dropped second Round K.O. and went directly at LL for the entire track. And it wasn't just him. Mike Tyson even showed up with the intro and ad-libs, which made the whole thing hit even harder. The track itself flipped the idea of LL's "Mama Said Knock You Out," turning it into a second round statement, like he was finishing the fight early. Once that dropped, all eyes shifted to LL Cool J. People were waiting to see how he would respond, because now it was public, loud, and impossible to ignore. About a month later, on April 28, 1998, LL fired back with "The Ripper Strikes Back," and he didn't just focus on Canibus. He also took shots at Mike Tyson and Wyclef Jean for backing him up. He came in aggressive, making sure everybody felt it. After that, Canibus went all in promoting his track. He was everywhere. Interviews, live shows, TV appearances, constantly performing and talking about the diss. He kept the pressure high and made sure the conversation never cooled off. There's even rare footage floating around from that time showing Big Pun, Canibus, DMX, and Mos Def all together, just talking and vibing. That moment captured the energy of that era, with all these heavy hitters in one space while everything was heating up. They're sitting there talking about rappers with big egos, and as the convo builds up, they decide to jump into a cypher. Now this is where things get wild. While everyone's spitting, Canibus drops a verse. And at the time, most people didn't even realize it yet. But that verse was from second Round K.O., aimed straight at LL Cool J. You can tell the people around him caught it instantly. They're reacting, hyping him up, getting loud, going crazy in the background. The energy was intense, and the bars were hitting hard. It was one of those moments where you could feel something serious was brewing. Canibus didn't slow down either. He kept pushing the diss track heavy. More appearances, more performances, more footage. At one point, he even performed a special third verse live that never made it onto the official version of the track. That just added more hype and mystery around everything he was doing. After all that momentum, he finally got ready to drop his debut album, Can I Bus?, set for September 1998. But right before that, LL Cool J slid in with another move. He hit a radio station and dropped the Rasta Imposter freestyle, sneaking in some shots at Canibus just to keep the tension alive. Then, the album finally dropped, and it was clear Canibus wasn't letting anything go. The project was packed with subtle lines aimed at LL Cool J. Not every track was direct, but those little jabs were spread all over, line by line, keeping the pressure there. Two tracks that stood out the most were Buckingham Palace and Get Retarded. Both of them carried clear subliminal shots, making it obvious who he was talking about without saying it outright. After the album release, though, things started cooling off. The back-and-forth diss tracks slowed down, and the battle wasn't as loud anymore, at least not on the surface. In 1999, things went completely quiet. No major moves, no big diss records, nothing dropping that year. It felt like everything just paused for a second. But by 2000, the tension crept right back in. Both Canibus and LL Cool J were getting ready to drop new albums, and those subtle shots started flying again. While promoting the GOAT, LL pulled up to Beats Rap City and spit a freestyle, and it was pretty clear he was throwing more jabs at Canibus. At the same time, Canibus was preparing his second album, 2000 BC, and he wasn't holding back either. On that project, he slid in multiple tracks with subliminal shots aimed at LL. Songs like Lost at Sea, 2000 BC, 100 Bars, and Magnificent all had those sneaky lines that pointed straight in LL's direction. Canibus dropped 2000 BC on July 18th, 2000, and then just 2 months later, LL Cool J came through with his 8th album, The GOAT, on September 12th, 2000. And he made sure to respond in his own way, adding more subtle disses across the album. Tracks like Shut 'Em Down, LL Cool J, and Back Where I Belong all carried those quiet shots aimed back at Canibus. It wasn't loud and direct, but the message was definitely there. Of course, Canibus caught all of that. So in 2001, he finally decided to respond directly to The Ripper Strikes Back, even though that track originally dropped years earlier. He came back with Rip the Jacker, flipping LL's I'm Bad, and even mocking the intro and opening bars. But after that, silence from LL Cool J. No response, no comeback track, nothing. To LL Cool J, the battle was already over. In his eyes, it had run its course, and he had no interest in going back and forth with Canibus again. Even without a response from LL, Canibus kept things going on his end. He dropped 3 more albums: See True Hollywood Stories, Mic Club, The Curriculum, and Rip the Jacker. And across those projects, he still slipped in slight mentions of LL here and there. But by the time Rip the Jacker dropped in 2003, that was the last time Canibus really spoke on LL Cool J like that. And this time, it felt different. He opened up more, talking about frustration, feeling pushed out of the industry, and even hinting at regret over how everything played out. He spoke on being in a dark place during that time, feeling like the odds were stacked against him. He also made it clear how much he loved hip-hop, how serious he was about his craft, and how much effort he put into his bars. For LL Cool J, the situation was already finished. In his mind, the battle had played out, and he wasn't interested in going back and forth with Canibus anymore. Even without LL responding, Canibus kept his foot on the gas. He dropped multiple projects: See True Hollywood Stories, Mic Club, The Curriculum, and Rip the Jacker, and across those albums, he kept sliding in small mentions of LL here and there. But when Rip the Jacker dropped in 2003, that marked the final time Canibus really addressed LL Cool J directly. And the tone had shifted. It wasn't just competitive anymore. He started speaking on frustration, feeling shut out of the industry, and even showing some regret about how everything unfolded. He talked about being in a rough headspace back then, feeling like everything was stacked against him. At the same time, he made it clear how much he respected hip-hop, how seriously he took his craft, and how much work he put into every line. Still, there was frustration behind it all. He felt like people leaned toward LL Cool J because of the hits and mainstream success, instead of really paying attention to the lyrics and skill. After 2003, everything truly went silent. No more indirect shots, no more mentions at all. LL Cool J kept expanding into TV, film, and business moves, while Canibus stayed focused on his own path, continuing to release independent and underground music his own way. At the same time, you could hear the frustration. He felt like people sided with LL Cool J mainly because of the hits and mainstream success, instead of focusing on the lyrics and skill behind the music. After 2003, everything finally went quiet for real. No more shots, no more mentions. LL Cool J moved further into TV, movies, and executive roles, building his brand outside of music. Meanwhile, Canibus stayed active in his own lane, dropping independent and underground projects without looking back. Canibus really looked up to LL Cool J, and that part gets overlooked a lot. He never came into this trying to be disrespectful. Redman said it, DMX said it, and others who were around confirmed the same thing. From that angle, it honestly felt like a legend stepping in and turning things into something bigger with a newer artist. Because when you really look at it, Canibus didn't seem like he meant any harm with that line at all. The respect was there from the start. The second reason people argue Canibus took this is how that situation played out in the studio. LL told him to change his verse, and Canibus agreed without making it a problem. But when Canibus asked LL to also adjust his verse, that didn't happen. LL kept his original lines aimed at Canibus on the final track. That move didn't sit right with a lot of people. It came off uneven, like one side had to adjust while the other didn't budge at all. Think about it like this. If an artist lets someone rework their verse, but then turns around and keeps shots aimed at them on the same song, it creates a strange balance. It would have looked a lot more solid if both sides kept their original energy or both made changes. In the end, a more even approach would have made the whole situation feel fair across the board, especially with how much attention that track was getting. Then people could have looked at it and said, okay, this is a real fair battle. But the way it played out? That was a weak move, especially coming from someone with that kind of legendary status. The third reason comes down to the music itself. I personally felt like Canibus had the stronger diss tracks. The energy, the delivery, the shock factor, it all hit different. And let's not ignore this. He got Mike Tyson on a diss track going at LL before even dropping his debut album. That alone brought crazy attention and made the whole situation feel even bigger. There was already hype building around Canibus at the time, and this beef just pushed it even further. People were locked in, waiting to see what he would do next. Now, to be fair, LL Cool J didn't come weak at all. His diss tracks were solid, and you could tell he was hungry, trying to remind everyone why he's considered one of the greats. But when you stack everything up, the situation, the execution, and the impact in that moment, I give the battle portion to Canibus. Now, when it comes to the war, that's a completely different story. This is about longevity, what happened after everything cooled off, and who really stayed on top. And this one is clear. LL Cool J takes the war, no debate. The man kept dropping albums, stayed active in the spotlight, landed major roles on TV like NCIS, got into films, hosted big events like the Grammys. He kept winning on a bigger stage. Meanwhile, Canibus kept putting out music, but it didn't connect the same way with the mainstream. A lot of people didn't even realize he was still dropping projects. So in the end, Canibus takes the battle. But LL Cool J wins the war. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, share this with someone who loves hip-hop, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think really won?